The behavior that I chose to observe is called tail flagging. It's a predator response in fox squirrels where they will move their tail in a wave-like motion from base to tip when the presence of a predator is sensed. And it can be seen in this individual right here by the trunk. He spotted me and he is flagging his tail. I've come up with 4 hypotheses as to why and how this behavior evolved, and each one of my hypotheses will correlate with one of the 4 levels of Tinbergen's analysis. My first hypothesis has to do with proximate causation or control, like how does it work and what causes it. A specific stimuli is detected by the squirrel's peripheral nervous system, processed by the central nervous system, where a specific response is instigated. We learned about the neural and hormonal responses in Unit 9 and how many responses to predators are specific neural reactions. The tail flagging signal may be one of these for fox squirrels, given that they seem to perform this behavior in response to a potential threat. Tail flagging is categorized as an anti-predator behavior that is observed in squirrels regardless of their region in response to stimuli that suggest danger. And this information is from the paper by Koss in 1991. My second hypothesis has to do with development or ontogeny, like how did it develop in the organism's lifetime. Squirrel pups learn the tail flagging behavior from adults and refine the response over time. This is a form of parental care that we learned about in Module 5 called teaching, where the parent will invest time and energy into introducing their offspring to important information, including behaviors. This is evidenced in Brianna Joyce Putman's 2016 paper on ground squirrel anti-predator responses, where it was observed that squirrel pups were not as accurate or consistent with their tail flagging when presented with a potential predator threat. But this behavior increased in accuracy and consistency into adulthood. My third hypothesis has to do with function. Tail flagging in response to the presence of a predator acts as a form of honest communication to other squirrels and an indicator to the predator that the squirrel is aware of its presence. We learned about honest communication in Module 2. It's defined as a form of communication in which both the sender of the signal and the receiver of the signal benefit from the information being shared. This form of communication happens most often between members of the same species because of the presence of shared motivations. Squirrels who pick up on signals from others are more likely to avoid a potential predator and survive to reproduce. In the Putman and Clark paper from 2015, they said tail flagging has been observed in both the presence of predators and in places where predators may have been recently seen, where it serves as a signal of watchfulness to other individuals. My fourth hypothesis has to do with evolution or phylogeny, like how did this behavior evolve? Tail flagging evolved as an anti-predator behavior because signaling to both their kin and to the potential predator improved direct and indirect fitness. By signaling with tail flagging, fox squirrels are not only signaling to the predator that they've been seen, but they're signaling to their kin nearby. In Shields' paper in 1980, he defined this type of behavior as altruistic nepotism because the signaler runs the initial risk of becoming prey, but their signal can allow their kin to escape. We learned about this concept of kin selection in Module 6. It's defined as a type of indirect fitness wherein an individual will display behaviors that have been chosen by natural selection that will benefit not just themselves, but the family as a whole. I would connect this particular behavior to the concept of honest communication because both the signaler and the receiver are generally benefiting from the knowledge that a predator is near. And the concept of kin selection as well comes into play because the signaler is not only signaling to the predator, but they are signaling to their kin that they have spotted a danger. And here towards the end of the video, we see some good examples of the tail flagging behavior from this individual.